Central Mindanao Colleges. Let our excellence launch your success now. Central Mindanao Colleges, Osmeña Drive, Kidapawan City.
Once again, have a pleasant afternoon to each and everyone, especially to our Professor, Dr. Mark Genesis de la Serna. Sir, have a pleasant afternoon. Let me introduce myself first. I am Aisa Panganiban Maligro, a first-year MAED student. For this moment of time, I am tasked to discuss about the great by choice, uncertainty, choice, and luck, why some thrive despite them all. This book is written by Jim Collins and Morton T. Hansen. Let us puzzle our mind. What is great by choice about? Collins and Hansen outline the principles for building a truly great business in today's unpredictable and fast-moving times. In Great by Choice, they answer the question why and how do some companies thrive in uncertainty, even choice, while others do not. The team studied companies that rose to greatness and coined them 10 times companies. The team then contrasted these companies with a set of companies that failed to achieve greatness in similar environments. Provocative surprises were in store when the results were analyzed. Let's go on to the chapter 1 of the book, which is Thriving in Uncertainty. Uncertainty is certain but thriving. According to Collins is suggesting thriving is possible. A key to consider is that there is no such thing as certainty when discussing the future. So, the people who are successful plan and prepare continually for the more uncertain of the uncertain times. Collins makes this observation: successful leaders during uncertain time. They observe what worked, figure out why it worked, and built upon proven foundations. They were not more risk-taking, more bold, more visionary, and more creative than the comparisons. They were more disciplined, more empirical, and more paranoid. Jim Collins quote that we cannot predict the future, but we can create it. Yes, that's true. That we cannot predict our future, but we can create our own future in our ways, in our many ways. Because the future is uncertain. The jobs are uncertain. Health is uncertain. The weather is uncertain. The only certainty about the future is there is uncertainty. Next, what separates a company public sector from being merely good in changing environment to one that is truly great? This question led Collins and Hansen to develop the behaviors necessary to become a 10 times company. What is a 10 times company? A 10 times company is one beating their industry indexes by a minimum of 10 times over 15 years in environments with big shifts and unpredictable change. Collins and Hansen discuss and select cases based on performance, but also focus on what environmental factors played a role during their march to becoming a stable 10 times company. Jim Collins and Morton T. Hansen state that uncertainty is permanent. Chaotic times are normal. Change is accelerating, and instability will likely characterize the rest of our lives. In this chapter, chapter 1, the title of the chapter is Thriving in Uncertainty. As discussed, uncertainty is certain but thriving. That is far from a sure thing. In fact, thriving I might settle for survival in uncertain times. Certainly, survival is better than failure. But Collins is suggesting that thriving is possible. This thriving is possible to the people who create their own future, to the people who make their own future, who have big dreams for their future. A key to consider is that there is no such thing as certainty when discussing the future. So, the people who are successful plan, prepare continually for the more uncertain of the uncertain times. Next, let us proceed to the principles. The principles of great by choice. Having, first is having 10 times leadership. Second, executing the 20-mile marches. Next is the firing bullets, then cannonballs. Fourth is leading above the deadline and having a SMAC recipe, maximizing return on luck. Let's go to the principle 1, which is the 10 times leaders. What defines them? What defines the 10 times leaders? Okay, 10 times leaders can beat industry index by at least 10 times. Don't complain and they don't blame. Display the following leadership characteristics. First, the characteristics is fanatic discipline. Second is empirical creativity. Third is the productive paranoia. The authors identified them are responsible for conducting companies during a period of real prosperity, in which they have exceeded at least 10 times growth rate of their sector. These leaders understand that they are not able to predict all the obstacles they will encounter and that nothing can be taken for granted. However, they are against that luck, chance, or other external factors decisive for their success failure. Collins and Hansen noted in their research that 10 times leaders share the following behaviors. 10 times leaders have 3 core behaviors. These are empirical creativity, fanatic discipline, and productive paranoia. What is a fanatic discipline? Okay, fanatic discipline is the 10 times companies leaders who has a fanatic discipline show extreme consistency in their actions. This consistency lines up with their values, goals, performance standards, and methods over time. The 10 times company is relentless and unbending. When it comes to their quest, true discipline requires the independence of mind to reject pressures to conform in ways that would be incompatible with values, performance standards, and long. Next. Next behavior is empirical creativity. Empirical creativity, 10 times companies leaders look primarily to empirical evidence rather than conventional wisdom during times of uncertainty. The leaders want to rely on direct observations, conducting practical experiments, and the direct engagement with tangible evidence rather than relying on conventional wisdom, opinion, authority, and the third one is the productive paranoia. Productive paranoia, 10 times companies, leaders understand that they will have threats and change in the environment. They are untuned to these threats even when times are good. A good 10 times leader will take their fear and worry and put it into action. They will plan and develop contingency plans and maintain large margins of safety. According to Amundsen's philosophy, don't wait until you're in an unexpected storm to discover that you need more strength and endurance. You don't wait until you're on the Antarctic journey to become a superb skier and dog handler. You prepare when intensity all the time so that when conditions turn against you, you can draw from a deep reservoir of strength. And equally, you prepare so that when conditions turn into your favor, you can strike hard. The key point of this chapter is that you don't wait for adversity and then react. Strobel does not send you a letter 3 years in advance and ask if you can stay at your house for a while. You must prepare with intensity all the time so that when the conditions turns against you, you can draw up deep reservoir of strength. Because trouble can attack anytime. Like our days today, we are on pandemic. So that we need to be more prepared and hindi man tayo talaga prepared dahil hindi naman talaga natin alam na magkakaroon ng pandemic. So, we can think another options, paano natin magagawa ang ating role as a teacher, as a leader ng mga bata. Kailangan nating maging prepare para sa pagbibigay ng magandang kinabukasan sa kanila, magandang edukasyon na mai-deliver natin yung magandang edukasyon para sa ating kabataan. So that we must apply the 3 characteristics, core behavior of leadership. Next, we continue to next slide. The 3 core behaviors is motivating force called level 5 ambition. What is a level 5 ambition? Level 5 ambition is 10 times leaders that channel their ego and intensity to something larger than themselves. They are passionately driven for a cause beyond themselves, such as a great company changing the world of achieving a great objective that's not about themselves. They reject the idea that luck, choice, or any other external factors determines their success or failure. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila naniniwala na yung luck o yung swerte lamang ang nagbibigay ng success sa atin. Kundi we need to be passionately driven for our cause beyond themselves. Kailangan nating maging prepare sa bawat oras, sa bawat panahon. Maihahambing dito ang kwento ng Nilanggam at ni Tipaklong. How the ant worked all the year round because he know the good times would not keeping ruling. Winter is coming. So he steadily prepared even while there was a plenty to eat for today. Just like the ant, we can't wait. We anticipate and we and prepare in both and good and bad times. And when bad luck comes, provisions and plans stand ready. Next, we go on to the what 10 times leaders are not. 10 times leaders are not. They are not more risk-taking. They are not more creative. They are not more ambitious. They are not more heroic. They are not more blessed by luck. They are not more visionary. They are not more charismatic. They are not more prone to making big and bold moves. But 10 times leaders define themselves by impact, purpose, and contribution. Impact, a good leadership creates employee engagement and passion. which lead to higher levels of customer loyalty, service innovation, and ultimately profits. Purpose. Good leaders create opportunity for others. Di lamang na sarili niya lang ang iniisip. And assessed in creating personal goals for those underneath them. Purpose-driven and effective leaders are able to arm their teams with a sense of individual purpose. Separate from their own that also aligns with their company's organizational purpose. Contribution is the giving of our time, energy, ideas, knowledge, emotion, assistance, money to community. Demonstrating leadership through contribution includes participation in the support of communities that are relevant to the field you operate with the teams. According to Collins and Hansen, innovation without discipline leads to disaster. Let's go on. We are now in the principle 2, which is the 20-mile march. 20-mile march use the fanatic discipline of having a concrete, clear, intelligent, and rigorously pursued performance mechanisms. According to Collins and Hansen, they discuss how a 20-mile march need not just be financial. In 2002, following the discipline of the 20-mile march, the chairman of the Center of the Future of Arizona identified the education of Latino children as the state top priority. Researchers identified a set of principal disciplines that lay within a control of the school, focusing on what they could do rather than factors they could not control. The first discipline on the list was no person was to play the blame game. Parents, teachers, and administrators had to take responsibility for the problem. The second discipline was not to think that the solution is out there. If the students are not learning, the school needed to change. The third discipline in the report was that no one was allowed to lag behind. When these three disciplines were applied, the Latino students' reading level increased 20%. Progress reports were given throughout the year to hold people accountable, improving results, increased confidence, and motivation. This in turn reinforced discipline. Success lay in picking a good program, instilling fanatic discipline to make progress, and sticking with the program to generate sustainable results. Moving from one fad to the next destroys motivations and erode confidence. Next. The idea of a 20-mile march could be compared to the life lesson. Slow and steady wins the race. When Collins and Hansen started studying, they believed that 10 times companies would be responding to a volatile, fast-changing world. By making radical changes and always being on top of the next big wave time and time again. They found the opposite to be true. They found that 10 times companies had clear, concrete, intelligent performance mechanisms that keep them on track. The big philosophy of the 20-mile march give us a guideline for any area of life on how to become successful. They suggest that the 20-mile march creates two self-imposed discomforts. Discomfort of unwavering commitment to high performance and difficult conditions. The discomfort of holding back in good conditions. Collins and Hansen discovered that every other company compared to the 10 times companies failed the 20-mile march. The 20-mile march is the strongest contrast between good and great companies. Collins and Hansen make an analogy with the race to reach the South Pole in 1912. At the time, two expeditions started the pursuit for one of the most inhospitable land. One of them was led by Englishman Robert Scott, and the other by the Norwegian Roald Amundsen. On his journey, Amundsen adopted a consistent progress regime. He never went too far in a good weather, avoiding his team to exhaustion, but made up for it when the conditions were bad, keeping pace. Scott, on the other hand, drove his crew to exhaustion on good weather days. And when the weather was difficult, he would not advance and stay in his tent, protecting himself and complaining. In the end, Amundsen's team reached their goal 34 days before Scott's team. In the business context, maintaining a steady gait requires the company to maintain consistent performance over a long period of time. This practice requires that the organization exhibits high growth in difficult times and limits development in times of need. The 20-mile march helped to build confidence in your ability to perform well in adverse circumstances, reduces the likelihood of catastrophe when you're hit by turbulent disruption. It also helps you to exert self-control in an out of control environment. Elements of a 20-mile march are clear performance markers for minimum performance that create productive discomfort. Self-imposed constraints for maximum performance, tailored to your specific enterprise. Within the company's control to achieve, you should not need luck. A Goldilocks time frame, not too long, not too short, but just right to be effective. Designed by your company for your company. Must be achieved with great consistency, good intentions, and don't count. That was the elements of a 20-mile march. The next principle is principle 3, fireballets, then cannonballs. This principle use the empirical safety behavior. According to the authors, Colin and Hansen, a revolver bullet is a low-cost, low-risk, low-power experiment. The purpose of this test is to obtain empirical evidence of what actually works in that market. Based on this evidence, you can focus the resources on what the authors call cannonball, which is a product. According to the authors, Collins and Hansen, a revolver bullet is a low-cost, low-risk, low-power experiment. The purpose of this test is to obtain empirical evidence of what actually works in that market. Based on this evidence, you can focus the resources on what the authors call cannonball, which is a product. Service that demands a great effort and will bring success to the company. However, the authors point out that care must be taken when firing the cannonballs, because if they are not well calibrated, they can have a huge impact on the health of the company. Therefore, it is important to calibrate well the cannonballs using the revolver bullets as a test and way of learning. Collins and Hansen examined the math that you have to always be innovating, to stay ahead and keep improving your business. Keep improving your business. Collins and Hansen discovered that innovation was often really good for society, but lethal for the individual pioneer. Collins and Hansen point out that we often think that to be successful requires rapid change. This is the process of using the bullets and cannonballs. The process first is fire bullets to figure what will work. Second, obtain empirical confidence in your bullet. Concentrate your resources. Build a cannonball. Fourth, fire the cannonball after the cannonball hits. Fifth, keep the last and is keep of 20-mile marching to make the most of your big success. Next, we will go on to the creativity plus discipline is equals to scale. The combination of creativity and discipline translate into the ability to scale, innovate with great consistency. According to Collins and Hansen, they quote, when you marry operating excellence with innovation, you multiply the value of your creativity. Next principle is the leading above the deadline. Leading above the deadline, practicing productive paranoia. Productive paranoia behavior. Collins and Hansen explore three core values, practices rooted in the research of the developing a great enterprise with productive paranoia. Productive paranoia, first, build cash, reserves, and buffers. You must prepare for bad events before they happen. 10 times companies queried 3 to 10 times the ratio of cash to assets. The 80% of the time cash carried higher cash to assets, the higher cash to liabilities ratio. To the comparisons group studied, Collins and Hansen point out that 10 times companies prepare for a black swan event, the low probability disruption, because 10 times companies can predict when the event will happen. They like to have big margins for safety and lots of options before the black swan happens. Collins and Hansen used three categories to research if 10 times companies took more risk with greater rewards. They had three categories. First is death risk, kill or severely damage the enterprise. Second, asymmetric risk. Asymmetric risk. Potential downside is greater than the upside. Third is the uncontrollable risk. Risk that forces the enterprise into events that the company has little ability to manage. Collins and Hansen discovered that 10 times companies took less risk than the comparison companies. And this is the process. Practice productive paranoia. You must build reserves and buffers. Then, you prepare for unexpected events and bad luck before they happen. You must be prepared, and kung ano man yung mangyayari, ikaw ay nakaprepare na. and manage risk. You must zoom out, then zoom in. What is a zoom out? Zoom out sense a change in conditions. Assess the time frame. How long before the risk profile changes? Assess with rigor. Decide, do we disrupt our plans? If so, how? Zoom in, focus on supreme execution of plans and objective. And now let's go on to the next principles. Fifth principles is sixth principles is SMAC recipe. SMAC is an acronym for specific, methodical, and consistent. And SMAC recipe is a set of enduring operational practices that creates a replicable and consistent success formula. The authors explain that a good SMAC recipe should have the following characteristics. It is clear and concrete. It allows the organization to unify the organize its efforts. Provides clear guidelines on what to do and what not to do. Reflects the empirical evidence regarding what worked and what does not. Alignment with SMAC revenue was essential for the 10 times companies studied, especially for those operating with an uncertain and changing environment. In this way, we can maintain consistency and discipline. What is a SMAC recipe? It is a written document, your manifesto, a durable set of operating practices, a consistent success formula that's replicable, absolutely needed. Only change one item at a time. The next principle, the last principle is return on luck is not the same as luck. Collins and Hansen try to figure out if luck played a major role in companies thriving during uncertainty. What if everything else studied only made up one times and two times success and to become a 10 times company? And to become a 10 times company was based on luck. Collins and Hansen defined luck as an event that meets three tests. Some significant aspect of the event occurs largely the entirely independent of the actions of the key actors in the enterprise. The event has a potentially significant consequence and the event has some element of unpredictability. Getting great to return on luck, getting great to rule. First, you must keep pushing, driving for your overall goal or cause. Luck, good and bad, will happen. Build a culture that can achieve results with or without luck. Firing bullets can present you with new opportunities. Don't wait for luck. Manage risk to combat bad luck. Practice zoom out, zoom in to recognize luck and see if it merits disrupting your plans. Have a SMAC recipe that guides you during a luck event. It's a matter of choice, not luck. Greatness is not primarily a matter of circumstance. Greatness is first and foremost a matter of conscious choice and discipline. And that's all. That's the end of my report. Thank you very much and God bless.
Good afternoon, my fellow educators, classmates, and most especially to our Educ 304 Professor Dr. Mark Genesis de la Serna. Good afternoon, sir. Before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Delvin Ranis, a second year Master of Arts in Education student. My role in this session is to provide knowledge, information, and some of the things that I have learned by reading this very informative book called Prescription of Excellence: Leadership Lessons for Creating a World-Class Customer Experience from UCLA Health System, written by Joseph Micheli. Despite the fact that this book is about the present state of the healthcare system in the United States, doctors and healthcare professionals, and some other topics to which we cannot connect, but I would like to give an emphasis about the template or a system thus the UCLA had created and how we can apply this system or template in our school, in different departments that you work with, because we value our customers, we care our clients, and we give or provide excellent customer service and meet or exceed their expectations. I hope that today, all of these, of course, would be able to get new insights, would be able to learn something new that you can apply in your work areas or department that you involved with. Again, welcome to this session entitled Care Takes Vision, Clarity, and Consistency. In every presentation, in every seminar or session, I always begin with what I call quote of the session. Today's quote is coming from Pablo Casals, and according to him, the capacity to care gives life its deepest significance. Indeed, the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. Its greatest reward is the new dimension it brings to our lives. And to substantiate this discussion, I would like to share this statement of Dr. David Feinberg, CEO of UCLA Hospital System. And according to him, whatever your business, pleasing the customer is an important aspect of emotional engagement and customer loyalty. Several years ago, the University of California, Los Angeles Health System decided to work on fixing the experience of care. Their results were outstanding, going to the 30th percentile of the US hospitals to the 99th percentile. Dr. David Feinberg, the then CEO of the UCLA hospital system, was committed to doing better as the UCLA system grew in Southern California. Using the lessons from the UCLA leaders who are known for their customer experience, UCLA did some progressive things to enhance and enrich the hospital's patient experience. These lessons can be read in Joseph Micheli's book entitled Prescription for Excellence: Leadership Lesson for Creating a World-Class Customer Experience from UCLA Health System. Dr. David Feinberg, CEO of UCLA Hospital, states that to turn our patient satisfaction numbers around, we knew we had to go back to the basics. We took our important mission statement, delivering leading edge patient care, research, and education, and personalized it for staff members with a strong emphasis on care delivery. Specifically, our work to recap our vision statement resulted in healing humankind one patient at a time by involving health, alleviating suffering, and delivering acts of kindness. We link that vision statement to our underlying values of integrity, compassion, respect, teamwork, excellence, and discovery, a build framework to solicit the staff's commitment to caring. In fact, we created a commitment to care statement that expressly states, I will always keep my commitment to care, as I have been entrusted by patients, colleagues, and society. Once we had all of those foundational pieces in place, we could fully launch the structures the UCLA operating system needed to transform patient satisfaction. According to Dr. Tony Padilla, Director of Patient Affairs and volunteer services. That really is our secret formula. It is our matter of leadership priorities, leaders who walk their talk and who offer constant, singular focus communication and a lot of discipline. That's how we transform our satisfaction levels from the 30s to greater than 95% system wide. The CR care and world class practices are born. Effective leadership depends upon influence, not control. This type of influence is reflected in a leader's ability to paint such a compelling picture of the future that colleagues can embrace the vision and enlist others in its pursuit. Whatever your business, pleasing the customer is an important aspect of emotional engagement and customer loyalty. The UCLA leader offer key lessons in how to maximize customer satisfaction levels by establishing operational objectives that drive customer-centric outcomes. CI Care is an evidence-based customer service model with a standardized process for interactions with patients, families, colleagues, and others. It is a communication tool developed by UCLA Health System and used by Stanford Health. It has been proven to promote positive interactions from beginning to end. Specific communication behaviors were highlighted through a template called CI Care. CI Care is an acronym for actions that include C stands for connect. Connect with the patients or family member using Mr., Miss, or their prepared name. Use Mr. or Miss or the customer's family member chosen name such as surname to contact the patient or family member. I stands for introduce. Introduce yourself and your role. Introduce yourself as well as your position. Your position or function in the firm of work area is essential to the customer or patient. And by doing so, you will get the respect of the customer that you observe. C is for communicate. Communicate what you are going to do, how it will affect the patient, and other needed information. Please explain what you are about to do, how it will affect the patient, and any other pertinent information. And last, letter E stands for exit. Exit, courteously explaining what will come next or when you will return. Or exit with a polite explanation of what will happen next or when you will return. And by doing this, the client may anticipate more from you, or she or he may believe that you can provide more. Share with them when you return. Again, CI care, connect, introduce, communicate, ask, respond, and exit. CI care reflects a broad set of communication behaviors that can be practiced by everyone in a healthcare setting, including food service workers, housekeeping, administration, volunteers, nurses, and doctors. According to Dr. Cindy Duckworth, training and project specialist at Bay Valley Medical Group, everyone wants to do a great job of customer service. CI Care is a tool that helps staff and clinicians remember the steps to take for engaging in positive communication so that we can provide excellent customer service and meet or exceed patient expectations. According to Dr. Bindu Dani, Director of Oncology, Hematology, Stem Cell Transplants, from my perspective, senior leaders needs to train managers on the importance of creating a patient care revolution at UCLA. More important, they specifically outlined the behaviors needed to achieve our goals and gave us structures to guide us along the journey. Those guidelines came in the areas of communication, courtesy, respect, and professionalism. This CI Care template was further augmented with guidelines referred to as world-class practices, addressing issues to go beyond the process of respectful communication. Specifically, world-class practices includes the following types of guidelines. Courtesy. Always exercise courtesy whenever patients, family members, and visitors are present. This includes the cafeteria, patient and visitors waiting areas, hallways, elevators, treatment areas, and patient rooms. Make eye contact and smile with patients, visitors, and staff. Offer a greeting when passing, such as good morning. Allow patients and visitors to go first, getting into or out of elevators or doorways and in hallways. Offer to help visitors get to their destination or provide directions. And speak in moderate tones. Be aware of the level of your voice. Professionalism. Maintain appropriate conversations, being respectful of patient and employee confidentiality. Personal cell phones or listening devices may be used only during break times and only in designated break areas. Show pride by maintaining a professional appearance while on duty. Adhere to organizational appearance standards. Demonstrate ongoing responsibility and commitment through good attendance and by being on time to work. And demonstrate pride in UCLA health system by keeping areas clean and safe. Respect. Respect privacy and dignity. Knock on the patient's door before entering and ask permission to enter. Ask permission before examining a patient and provide an explanation of the examination or procedure. Do not make disparaging remarks about other departments or staff members in front of patients or visitors. And respect individual and cultural differences. UCLA has created the CI Care model to standardize the way in which we interact with others. It also provides tools to become more effective and consistent at modeling the positive behaviors of always delivering excellent customer service and exceeding expectation for the patient's experience. So let me share this video information about the CRK health system and how this system creates a big impact in providing excellent customer services and satisfaction.
Our mission
is delivering leading edge patient care,
education,
and research.
Our vision is
Our vision is
healing humankind.
one patient at a time.
One patient at a time,
by improving health,
Alleviating suffering.
and delivering acts of kindness.
I connect to my patient by educating them and their family so that they can actively participate in their care.
I connect with my patient by greeting him with a smile and taking a moment to ask him how he's doing.
I connect to my patients by understanding their unique needs, including their conditions and limitations.
I connect to my patients by anticipating their needs and their family's needs.
That's what CI care means to me.
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 It really was something very, very special for me, and it'll always be special for me.
There are people that are so dedicated to what they do that amazes me. People talk about miracles. My husband really is a walking miracle, and it's because of these people.
To end my discussion, I would like to share this statement. With many recent changes in our working areas, more customers now have a choice of where they want to receive their care. That's why we need to be consistent in providing excellent care and being the best of what we do in our various roles in the organization. It is important for us to always remember that our customers have an option when it comes to their needs. Thank you for being here today. I hope you learned something about this discussion, and I appreciate that you took time to be here and listen to my presentation.
Okay, so good afternoon once again. So this is session 3, and I'll be talking first on our topic on the vision and envisioning thing. Okay, so by the way, my name is Edlin Baa, and I'll be the first one to have this talk. Okay, so before I start, I would like to raise this question to all of you, and you can participate by typing your answers in the chat box. Okay, so I have here a question. What is visionary leadership for you, or what comes and what springs in your mind when you hear the word visionary leadership? Okay, anyone? Okay, so just drop your answers in the chat box. Okay, great job, and let's proceed. Okay, so another question. Do you think vision needs to be permanent? Okay, so what do you think? Okay, so as we go along with the talk, so we will be finding out more on this topic on vision and the envisioning thing. Okay, and we will find a lot of more answers at the end of the talk. So at this point, I'll be talking about visionary leadership and the waves of the future, in particular by Karen Poe. So actually, this is one of the 4 articles that will appear in updating school board policies under National School Boards Association of Local School Boards of America. So in response to the profound and continuing changes in American society and the needs of local school boards in acknowledging the changes, so the National School Boards Association, or the NBS, developed a new statement of philosophy for educational governance in 1990s, and that is entitled The Local School Board and the New Realities. So there are 4 themes of governance for school boards that they have came up. So first, We have setting the vision for education in the local community, and establishing the structure and environment to implement the vision, assessing performance progress towards achieving the vision, and being the preeminent advocate for the public schools and their students. Okay, so vision. Do you think it's enough to set a vision? Yes. What do you think? Okay, is setting a vision enough? Okay, so setting a vision is not just a new way of saying goal setting or long range planning. So it is also a primary responsibility for today's school leaders, principals, administrators, and it encompasses the best in forward thinking, innovative planning, and community involvement, of course. Okay, so what comes to your mind when you hear the word visionary leadership, and what are the things that involve in? Okay, so of course, as we know, we have a lot of leadership styles. So one of those is the visionary leadership. Okay, so visionary leadership, basically the leader is certain that there are better ways to do things and that uh, change is urgently needed. So as a result, he paints an ideal image and articulates a new vision. And of course, he will share this vision to his followers and ensures that they also understand what is what is he trying to say, or what is he trying to uh, implement, as a vision. Okay, so we have here, okay, the first one. Okay, critical evaluation of your past and present plans, your achievements, and the need for reassessment or revision of your goals. So when we say critical evaluation of your past, then that means there is a need for us to revisit or reassess our past plans for any achievements or any improvement that it bring that yeah that has a good result in the present when it comes to your innovation in the institution. And we also have identification of trends and emerging issues. So what are the trends? So for example, this times of pandemic. So what are the trends now when it in the education setup? So we have this flexible learning. Okay, we have the modular and online learning. So emerging issues, health issues, especially health issues that affect everyone, especially our learners. Okay, another one we also have here, establishment of achievable goals based on the knowledge and experience you have gained from the past and your determination of future needs. So we will establish achievable goals based on what we can do or what we are trying to imagine that we can achieve in the future. So we also have another one, commitment to the vision. No one ever succeeded in leading an effort to which he or she was not personally committed. So that means every vision and every thing that we we endeavor and every endeavor that we have, so we need to commit our selves, commit our time and effort for the success. Okay, another, we also have here involvement of others in the development of the vision and empowerment of them to act on its implementation. So, of course, we need to involve other people. Okay, so we will not do it alone. So let others be involved, our co-workers, our co-teachers. So if you are the principal or administrator, so let your uh, program heads or other teachers, faculty, staff be involved on the development of the vision. Okay, and another one, willingness to make the changes necessary to enhance your success potential. So we have to be willing to make the change, especially in this time of pandemic, no? So we understand that not all of us are ready, or if not all of us, uh, yeah, a lot of people are really in a shock, right? But nevertheless, we need to remain malleable, okay, flexible, okay, to adapt changes. Okay, so we have here Bert Nanos, Professor of Management and Director of Research at the Leadership Institute, University of Southern California, Los Angeles, has described both the personal commitment demanded by visionary leadership and its legacy. Okay, so talking about legacy, he said, when your tenure is over and you pass the mantle on to someone else, you want that person to be able to say, there was a person who helped us see how great we could be and who laid the foundation for our great leap forward. Okay, so who can share their thoughts on this statement of Dr. Bert Nanos? Okay, can you share your thoughts on this? You may drop your answers in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is talking about legacy. So, for example, you are assigned as a principal today. Okay, so there should be something that you can be proud of, or something that you can call as a legacy when the time comes that you will also be having another assignment, no, or you will be transferred to another department. So we have this so-called legacy. Uh, Somehow we have what we call the blueprint or achievement, no, in that particular department where we are once being trusted to lead. Okay. Okay, so what is the central requirement of visionary leadership? Okay, so Dr. Bert Nano suggests that the central requirement of visionary leadership is, what do you think? Okay, is the ability to make appropriate changes. Okay, So he says that we must continually track changes and make the necessary adjustments to our vision. Okay, why do you think so? Okay, so it has been said the world changes and so must the vision. Okay, do you agree with this? Okay, so are you familiar with the VUCA world? Okay, the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Okay, so we know so well that the only constant in this world is change. So the world changes and so must the vision. Okay, so we have here some examples, no, of innovations. Okay, so example is that the elimination of the asbestos industry as a result of changing environmental and health needs. So if you are familiar with asbestos industry, of course, um, in the olden times, or yeah, not so olden times, but in the past, asbestos is having or have gone a great impact, no, to our industry. However, as time goes by, so it was found out that it's also harmful uh, for human beings. So that is why there is a need to stop it. No, so that's an example of uh, example also of changes. So we need to find another ways, no, of construct yeah, having a great constructions without the use or less risk from this asbestos. Okay, and another example we also have here, the IBM form a joint venture with one of its primary competitors, and which is the Apple computers. So why do they need to joint venture where in fact they are the primary competitors? And also the Atlantic Richfield Oil Company advocate. They promote low emissions gasoline in contrast, no? Okay, so why? Okay, so Dr. Nanos points out that entrepreneur, innovator are just visionary leaders by another name. Okay, so the one that we're talking a while ago is the business industry. No, so that's why Dr. Nanos points out that these entrepreneurs are also one of visionary leaders. Okay, so in order to make changes, school boards need to ensure that the ability to change exists. Okay, so why do we need to change? Why do we need to adapt to these changes? Okay, of course, because they need or we need to respond the new external challenges that threatened our traditional uh, operations or traditional or the things that we are being used to. No, in this case, the IBM and Apple venture and the Richfield Oil Company are also adopting this new change, no? Okay, so um, as as a respond to these challenges from the outside, or the external challenges that we hold. Okay, so we have also here institutional change can occur only when four basic conditions exist, according to Dr. Nanus also. So we have the first one. Okay, there is mutual trust and sufficient openness to allow people to recommend and to try change without feeling threatened. Okay, so of course people are also afraid now when it comes to change. So let's say, for example, this vaccination drive of the government. Now we cannot deny the fact that some people are also afraid of taking vaccines for some speculations about the possible side effects of the vaccine. So in this case, we need to uh, okay, we need to have this widespread participation in the change process. Okay, so the government is encouraging everyone to participate, no? Even giving giveaways just for people to cooperate. Okay, another diversity of skills and viewpoints are represented, and there are lots of feedback. Okay, of course, feedback is very important. Why? Okay, why do you think feedback is very important? Okay, so this last point is the way in which we can track salient or important information and identifying emerging issues. So we also have to ensure that decision makers were able to receive the feedback effectively. In what way? Okay, so how can we track salient information and identify emerging issues? Okay, number one, we have to establish broad networks and polling the community on a continuing basis about needs. Listening to the perspectives offered by outside speakers, uh, using expert consultants, both outsiders and insiders, to help in developing the plans and programs that are truly visionary. Okay, so in taking or identifying salient information, uh, making or receiving feedback, so it is very important that we should have these broad networks. Broad networks means the outsiders and the insiders of the institution. No, for example, in an institution, not just for the faculty and staff, but also for the students, including the stakeholders, the communities, the parents. Okay, so we have here suggestions for the prudent visionary. Why? Okay, so we cannot deny the fact that uh, there are also we cannot uh, we, we we cannot say that these things are all perfect. No, our vision is always perfect. So we should consider our on the other term we call it like contingency plan, right? So Dr. Nanos provides some real world advice on how to avoid vision failures. Okay, so yeah, sometimes we need to be ready for everything that will uh, come as we go along with all this, with this vision that we have created. So here are some suggestions. Okay, first, don't do it alone. Okay, so we need to solicit suggestions from other people. No, as I have mentioned a while ago, if you are the principal or the school administrators, so in formulating a vision in the institution, it is vital to let the teachers, faculty, and staff, and even students or parents, stakeholders be involved in the formulation of vision and of the vision of an institution. Okay, another one we also have, don't be overly optimistic. So it means we need to be realistic. Yes. Okay. That means it should be attainable enough. Okay. So new ideas or approaches will lose impact if they are seen as too ambitious. So sometimes, uh, but as long as the vision appears attainable, then, or even if it requires extraordinary efforts, sacrifices, tears, and pains. Okay, so don't be afraid to stretch a little and go for it. So that means we need to work hard for it. Okay, so number three, reduce the possibility of unpleasant surprises. Okay, what does it mean? If you have any thoughts on this, you can drop your answers in the chat box. Okay, so we need to try to anticipate all the future possibilities by thinking through everything that might occur. Now, as I mentioned a while ago, we need to have a contingency plan. The plan A, a plan B. Okay. So we also need to listen to all available expert opinions or the opinions of your co-workers or co-leaders. Yeah, and of course, critical thinking and critical examination on some of the what we call wisdom that are being laid to us by other or by our co-leaders. Okay. Another, watch out for organizational inertia. What is organizational inertia? Okay. So the resistance to change, no? Okay. So organizations are particularly resistant to change, and we cannot deny it. So sometimes resistance may prevent us from making unnecessary or unwise changes, and can prevent us from reacting too quickly or inappropriately. However, that same resistance as well can also prevent needed change, especially in this time of pandemic. So yeah, we understand that all of us are not ready for the change, no, especially the our learners. So that's why some of them are crying when they knew that, oh, they cannot go to school anymore, they cannot see their classmates and friends anymore. So yeah, that's one of a concrete example. So they are not yet ready for that change. Okay, so watch out for organizational inertia. So that is why we need to review of the structure and some internal reorganization so that everybody can accept. So we need to encourage positive changes in the institution. Number 5, don't be too preoccupied with the bottom line. Okay, for educators and school board members, the bottom line is in the long run, provision of excellent and equal education for all students, of course. But sometimes, in the short run, we also need to look at these things like dropout rates, graduation rates, achievement scores, and implementation of the education and service programs. Okay, so in progressive school districts or progressive schools, rather, okay, they hold their students first in priority. Their teachers will be the second priority, and the public demands will be the third priority when it comes to making hard choices. So these school board members and superintendents know that if they make decisions that will enhance the ability of students to learn and teachers to teach, so they will secure the confidence and support of students. Okay, now let's have the next one. Be flexible and patient in implementing the vision. Okay, of course. So there are usually many different ways to achieve any goal. But let's try to be patient, no? So when you encourage involvement with your co-workers or your stakeholders, so you must be ready and willing to commend people for their initiatives and tolerate their mistakes. So let us have patience, no, in implementing the vision. Okay. So we have the last one. Never get complacent. Okay, so what does it mean? Anyone? Okay, you can drop your uh, thoughts, your opinions or suggestions. Okay, in the chat box. Okay, so never get complacent. So it is said that the best time to plan for the future and talk about making improvements is when things are looking their best. So what does it mean? Okay, so it doesn't mean that things are going well. So you also need to try to relax and be complacent. Rather, you need to continue planning ahead. Yes. Okay. So, what could be more important then? So, the importance of visionary leadership cannot be overstated. Setting an educational vision reflects the best of the past and provides for the future. So, that's why I want you to answer again. Go back to my question from the beginning. So, is vision needed to be permanent? What do you think? Okay, so, okay, I suppose it's clear to you at this point. Okay, and I will leave you with this quote by Emmanuel Apetzi. To be a visionary leader, the future must be your home. Okay, and that's the end of my talk this afternoon. Okay, thank you so much